Hello and welcome to the national debate, ladies and gentlemen. What started as a digital revolution in India's biggest school examination system has now snowballed into a full-blown political controversy. For the 2026 board examinations, the CBSE implemented OSM, or on-screen marking, on a national scale, replacing the traditional process of physical evaluation with a digital system in which scanned answer sheets were assessed online. The reform was projected as faster, more efficient and more transparent. But after the results were declared, lakhs of students sought access to their answer sheets. Questions soon emerged over the scanning quality, evaluation and possible technical lapses. The spotlight has now shifted to the company responsible for executing the project. The opposition has also targeted the centre over alleged irregularities and discrepancies in the system. At the same time, the NEET paper leak probe is gathering pace, and the Supreme Court has rapped the NTA over repeated leaks and asked the agency to identify those responsible. The court has made it clear that accountability must be fixed. But viewers, remember this: the consequences of a paper leak are not distributed equally. They fall hardest on students who can under no circumstances afford failure. The system demands perfection from 17-year-olds while repeatedly excusing its own failures. So the big question on national debate that we are asking today is this: is it time for a complete revamp of the system? And can the government sort out the issues before students lose faith in the system completely? I'm going to introduce our panelists. Joining us, with us is R.P. Singh, National Spokesperson of BJP. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, is with us. We have Vinesh Menon, who's an education policy expert. Dr. Jyoti Gupta is Director and Principal of K.R. Mangalam World School and Director of the Shri Ram Universal School. We have Chirag Sethi, Spokesperson of Aam Aadmi Party. Professor Tanveer Ejaz is columnist and academician. We have Vivek Salis, National Spokesperson of Samajwadi Party, and Ishan Karonjia, CBSE student, is also with us here in the studio. Let's quickly take you across to the current controversy. What exactly has happened? What are the issues at hand when it comes to the on-screen marking? First, wrong answer sheet tagged. This is a complaint that a lot of the students have put out. Second problem, blurred or illegible scans that have been put out as well. Third problem, there's a rushed digital evaluation that also some have complained about. They've also spoken about unexpectedly low marks, and in some cases with the revision it has increased as well. Problem 5, portal crashes and payment glitches that have been reported as well. And of course, no transparency in grades is another concern that is being expressed as well. Now, these are some of the remarks that several students have made. This is Vedant Srivastava in Delhi, a case that had gone viral. He says that this is not his answer sheet. Of course, CBSE intervened in this particular case. Another student of Army Public School, Samriddhi, says expected around 95% but got only 80%. There's also, of course, Sparsh Tanwar of Maurya School, who says he scored 10% lower than what was expected. Kanak in Jharkhand says right answers are marked wrong. Geetu Moza, a concerned parent, says PG22 worth 30 to 35 marks is missing. Let's listen to some of the reactions coming.
Why and by whom was COEMT given the CBSE contract? If we could figure out in 30 seconds that this company earlier had a different name, why didn't the CBSE figure this out? And why were no background checks done?
राहुल गांधी जी एक अलग मानसिकता में पहुंच चुके हैं। निरंतर चुनाव हारने के कारण वो फ्रस्ट्रेशन में जा चुके हैं। भारत की वैज्ञानिक प्रगति के साथ वो नहीं है।
Let me quickly take this across to the BJP spokesperson with us, Mr. R.P. Singh. Question that will still remain is that what exactly is being done? Because, you know, the entire OSM controversy shows that it's a system that should have been properly tested. It appears that in this case, students were used as guinea pigs.
Well, not at all. System was properly tested and everything was on board and everything is very transparent. It's first time it's happening that papers can be seen. Now children can see their papers, what they have, what marks they have achieved or what marks they have been given. In our times, it was never used that way. It was just that marks was there and we could apply for evaluation. The total will be done and we will be told that your total is right or wrong. So this is a progress ahead. If there are some things which are left out, they'll be taken care. But the intention is good, and also this is happening for the first time. It's never happened. I mean, no one could have thought that it's such a big scale that all papers can be scanned and then can be put on record, and then every teacher can get it there, and then he can do the marking
No,
there.
but the future of students is at stake. Even if one student is wrongly evaluated, that's definitely not something that's acceptable.
That still need to be assessed. I mean, whether that still need to be investigated, whether there's wrong valuation or not. It's still
CBSE has corrected several, including Vedant Srivastava, I beg your pardon. That student who put out his social media, all his posts, and in fact even got trolled. CBSE later admitted that he had a point because the handwriting itself was different in one of the sheets.
So that's why it's good that it's happening, that everything is put on up front on record and on your screen.
Okay.
It's not that, that something has been done and you can't even see that ever.
Okay. Chirag, you agree with that? He says that system is more transparent. It's happening for the first time. So there are some teething issues, some technology issues. This will all be resolved. Do you respond to that?
See, this is not happening for the first time. We have seen the NEET exam. We have seen the SSC GD exam. It has been a pattern that anything they do, they mess it up. Then they start blaming the Congress. Then they start blaming the other parties that they have done this. There was a company which has done a similar work in a state in southern India, and they failed badly. They could not even cross-check the things, whether the company has performed well or not. Now the people who have committed suicide after the NEET exam leak, who is responsible for that? Isn't the NTA chief should be booked for murder? This is the problem in this country, that these people don't understand all this, that what goes through the mind of a PMT candidate. I was a PMT candidate, I know. So my 12th mark sheet is not validated properly. My NEET exam is leaked. Now for 2 months, I have nothing to do, just to worry about that what I have to do again. Maybe I have to give the exam again. Will I get a seat? What will be my future? They said, okay, मेरी एक गलती है. 2026 के बच्चों का पूरा साल खराब हो गया, इनकी एक गलती है. क्यों गलती है? क्योंकि मंत्री जी बिजी थे अपने इलेक्शंस में. He was busy in his elections. He was busy making sure that they win West Bengal, but the students of this country have lost.
Okay, ministers are busy with elections, not worrying about their departments. That's a direct charge.
Minister who do the evaluation, it's the teachers who do the evaluation, and there's a system which has been put in place, and they are talking about that system. But the same system was there in Telangana, and the agreement was done with Telangana and Karnataka and other governments also. I have the papers with me, the agreement papers with me also. But again, coming to the issue, could anyone think about this before this? That yes, your answer sheet would be seen. There are teachers on board who could not us also could ever think that your answer sheet can be seen and you can tell your marks and you can even put a question mark on whether you have been evaluated rightly or wrongly.
Let me quickly bring in Vivek Salas on that. Vivek, okay, you want to respond? Yeah.
In 2024, NEET exam was leaked. Who was caught? Who was given punishment? What was the prosecution? Which director was sacked? Or he was given some lucrative posting after the leak was happened? What was happened?
Absolutely.
So this is a precedent.
That's a fair question. That's a fair question. I'm coming to NEET because Supreme Court has come down very heavily on the centre. I think your concerns are valid and we'll come to that as well. We'll look at what happened as far as NEET specifically. But I just want to stick to OSM for the moment because I think this is a very, very serious issue. And Vivek, the point being made by BJP is repeatedly this, that even in Telangana, the same company was contracted and they disastrously failed over there. Suicides were committed there in Telangana as well. So is it fair to only target the centre when it is a Congress-ruled state where all of this has happened? Your response to that argument?
The company is Covent and it is a sort of a blacklisted company, you know, and the Bharatiya Janata Party and the system knew.
Is it blacklisted?
Sort of, because, yes, because you know what happened after that?
Legal term.
After the intermediate examination, 23 students, you know, committed suicide in Telangana. When the Bharatiya Janata Party knew about it, and the only thing that the company did, the director, managing director was the same, but the name was changed. That is all. When you don't cross-check the background of the country and you are giving the contract to the same country, that definitely it comes down to system. Bharatiya Janata Party is saying it's the system that is failing. Then what is the Bharatiya Janata Party or the education minister doing? I'll tell you some recent happenings that happened in the country very recently. You know, if you see Indore, where 30 people died due to contaminated water, the system was blamed. You know, in Noida, a software engineer was drowned right in front of her eyes, and the NDRF and SDRF were stranded. They were just looking, and the system was blamed. You will see Jhalwar in Rajasthan, the roof fell, and innocent children died. Again, the system was blamed. And if you see Balasore, 280 people died, 900 were injured. Ashwani Vaishnav was making, reels. If you see Ahmedabad air crash, so many people died. Our Honorable Prime Minister was
let's come back to education.
This tells the seriousness of the This tells the seriousness of the central government of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now it is saying, now we can see that the defense minister is holding a meeting for the education ministry at home.
No, not at all.
Of course.
Some other reason.
No.
Sir, आपको पढ़ लिख कर
Come on.
No, one second. But it is a fact. And let me bring in Dr. Raghunathan on that point. Dr. Raghunathan, the government is not concerned or is not taking accountability with people-centric issues. This is general point. And the larger question, today we are in a situation where our Air Force is going to be used to transport answer sheets and question papers. So what is this really coming to? I mean, is this a panic reaction or an overreaction perhaps?
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. This is not a panic reaction. This is a reaction that usually follows when you are living in a banana republic, that the only entity you can trust is our brave military. And this should have happened during demonetization as well. I think anything that the country can do properly, we have now come to the conclusion can only be done by our armed forces. That's a fact. Let me come to the two issues and deal with them factually, because, you know, let's not go by rhetoric and political tutu meme, because there is enough things that need to be said, and I'm glad that you're having this discussion. There are two issues here. One is the NTA mishandling and the other is CBSE. Let me tackle the CBSE first up. Now, as the Prime Minister every year holds this Pariksha Pe Charcha, I think he should bifurcate it. Pariksha dene se pehle charcha or pariksha dene ke baad charcha, and both are equally important. I'll tell you why. In this country, you can get away with any crime without compensation. The first thing that should happen is that the students who've been hard done by have to be compensated. R.P. Singh ji is right that this indeed is a transparent system. But when he says for the first time, students can see their own answer sheets, and the problem is, for the first time, students are seeing somebody else's answer sheets attributed to them. That is the issue out here. Let me see how this can be solved. Very quickly, on the CBSE issue, compensate the students. Look at the scale. Almost 40 crore pages have been digitized. It's an awesome exercise. Let's admit, let's give the devil the due. R.P. Singh ji is right. This is the way to go. Now, obviously, 13,000 problems have occurred out of 1.3 crore answer sheets. So, statistically, yes, even one discrepancy is a tragedy. But the fact is, you look at the numbers. So, there, the issue is, are you going to compensate the students who are hard done by? That's point number one, and then improve the system. Now, if I have 30 seconds, I want to come to the NEET issue, because that is...
I'm coming to NEET because there's a separate talking point. I'm just requesting, as I requested him, I'm going to come to NEET because both are very technical issues. I don't want to confuse the two, but I certainly want to bring in students. Of course, very important. But let me bring in fact, Professor Tanveer Ejaz on that. Professor Tanveer Ejaz, he says if you look at the fact that it's 1.3 crore students, and if you look at the fact that there's an anomaly only for 13,000,
1.3 crore answer sheets.
1.3 crore answer sheets, of which only 13,000 are problematic. Are we looking at a very small problem? And of course, even one student, I started with the premise that even one student who is wrongly evaluated is one too many. But in terms of the fact that it's a huge reform, is this something that we should also be taking in our stride? Do you accept that argument?
No, I completely debunk the whole argument of Professor Ranganathan. In a sense that, look, he starts by saying that it's a banana republic, right? Who is responsible for this banana republic? See, the government, when it can't do it, it should not do it. That's the whole idea. You know, you are doing such a massive work and it's not foolproof. I would like to say, and I think we should all need to discuss about the fact that how this contract was given, the process of contractualization, you know, I mean, look at the bids, both the bids, technical bids and the financial bids. In both the bids, you will find that there is a whole lot of issue. Technical bid was, the technical requirement was diluted to a very large extent, right? Financial bid, you know, the L2 was 60 rupees they were charging, and the L1 to this company, which I think my fellow panelist has said that, you know, has a very checkered history. And let me tell you, you know, this Coemt was named some other company, and when it was when an FIR was done against this company, then it got its name changed, right? So it has a very checkered history. What I'm trying to say is that we need a thorough investigation. Rahul Gandhi has said investigation on this. I say that all contracts given by this government, because NEET, we are seeing students committing suicides, right? It's not a joke. It's not a small mistake that you're talking about. They are committing suicide. So many suicides have taken. And what about mental trauma? What about the trust of these students in the government, public system? What about the accountability systems? So a whole lot of issues are there. We need to discuss all this. But at the moment, we need a thorough investigation on this contract. That why such contract was given. On what basis this contract was given. I mean, they should come out openly, cleanly.
Huge violations in that contract. Dr. Raghunathan, you want to take that question? He says the manner and the process in which this has happened, it's certainly not transparent in the way in which COEMT has got this particular contract.
No, and this is why I wanted this discussion, which is a wonderful discussion, to remain apolitical, because I don't find any point of disagreement with what my previous panelist has said, and I'm surprised and disappointed that he disagrees with me. What is it wrong that I have said? I said it is a banana republic because we don't compensate people who are victims. Now, does he find that wrong? I'll be surprised if he does that. Yes, he's absolutely right. And RP Singh Ji is answerable, his government is answerable if there was some mala fide in giving the contract. But I'm talking beyond that, what has actually happened. If I give you the numbers, saying out of 40 crore scanned images, 13,000 have been the ones that have been objected to.
Yeah.
That's just the number. Having said that, 1 second, I didn't interrupt you, sir, 1 second. Political asides are different. As I said, and you started by saying that, even one student who's been hard done by, his future has been kicked, and that is unacceptable to me. But the fact is, you have to shore up. This is the way to go. Is any panelist out here denying that we should not have a transparency like this here?
Absolutely.
Let them say so.
Supreme Court has also come down heavily on that, but
Transparency. You see, transparency, fine, but there are a lot of things which are not transparent. One thing, I mean, the earlier panelist said that so many answer sheets were to be scanned, but why the technical requirement for scanning the answer sheets were diluted? That is the real question. And mind you, this was the third bid. So the vendor, you see, the relationship, I think it's very important to understand public-private partnerships in colleges, in universities. You cannot give such an important work to a market, to some vendor who has a checkered history and spoil life of so many thousands and lakhs of
okay, I want Vinesh Brennan to answer that question, but before I come across to you, let's take a look at some of the graphics that we have. This is actually our next talking point about this particular company. What is the issue with COEMT? Now, it has won the CBSE's OSM contract. This is what we are discussing. In any case, it's under the lens also because it has handled this entire digital evaluation process. It has beat other bidders in a tender, is what we are told. Of course, questions on that as well. The fact that it emerged the lowest financial bidder is also what we are told. And evaluation discrepancies have, of course, been alleged as far as COEMT itself is concerned. In Hyderabad, there were blurred, scanned copies that have been flagged as well as far as this particular company is concerned. Vinesh, I want you to come in on this. Was a proper technical evaluation not done as far as this company is concerned? How did it get such a big contract if it did not have the technical ability to do so?
Look, honestly, I cannot comment on whether the technicals are done right or wrong because I was not at the helm of affairs as far as hiring this company is concerned. All I do know is that in any government, when you decide to give a certain service to a private organization, there is a certain process that is followed, and that process is a tendering process, and process of tendering typically has either two ways of going about it. You go the L1 route or you go what is called the QCBS route, where you do a quality-based cost evaluation. Both these are very robust processes, and these processes should be, if followed to the T, should ideally lead to the right outcome and the right person who wins a contract. Now, has there been a leak in the entire process? I cannot comment on that. But I do think that we are in a scenario where, just like how my fellow panelists have said, given the scale and the volumes that we're running today, I think the whole method of going into a situation where you have public-private partnerships, outsourcing of contracts, these are all very normal and it needs to be done. Whether it has to be done the right way, that is, of course, dependent on the systemic successes or failures.
Right. Let's bring, of course, the only student on this panel. With us is Ishant Kanoje. Ishant Kanoje, you've heard all the political parties, you've heard all the experts. Do you agree with what is said in terms of what really have students gone through? Are the answers that are coming in from the government satisfying the students? Because you're speaking for the entire student community today.
Yes. So I would like to say, they just scammed all students. And when we got our marks, we are totally adapted like what our marks is. तो सर हम सोच रहे थे कि हमारे अच्छे मार्क्स आएंगे, इजी पेपर था एंड अच्छा जाएगा सब कुछ, बट जैसे पेपर आए वैसे ही हम सोच रहे कि ये क्या हो गया हमारे साथ, है ना. और जब हमें एग्जाम दिलाया जाता है तब हमारी इतनी चेकिंग होती है, बट जब एग्जाम बनाया जाता है उसकी कौन चेकिंग करता है? हमको ग्रेड देने के लिए है कोई, बट जो एग्जाम बना रहा है उसको कौन ग्रेड देगा? अभी जो रिसेंट एक केस हुआ था कि मैथ्स के पेपर में वो QR कोड वाला स्कैम हुआ था, बच्चों का मजाक बना दिया था सर वो, और अभी यहाँ वापस मजाक बना दिया है. ऑल्सो अभी कुछ एग्जाम्स होते हैं जिसमें हमको सर्टेन परसेंटेज चाहिए होती है, कई बच्चों की वो परसेंटेज ही नहीं बन रही है. उसका क्या करेंगे हम? जो वेबसाइट है वो क्रैश हो जाती है.
There are serious questions because these marks are also the bedrock for all future examinations. Dr. Jyoti Gupta, these are very valid concerns that students are saying that we are being taken for granted, we are being evaluated. There's no evaluation of the quality of the examinations that is happening, and also given the fact that the board exam numbers are responsible for number of aspects. Now there are certain competitive exams where they don't matter, but for a vast majority of students, this is the basis of their future.
Absolutely agreed, and it's not fair on the children if they are not getting the marks that they have actually worked for. That is why this entire process of reevaluation, not just this year, it has always been there. And if we look at the post-result activities circular that came out from CBSE, it preempted in saying that if the children have not gotten the marks that they expected, that they thought copies, they could apply for the reevaluation, not just of the entire paper, but of that if it has blurred copies or if the copy is not complete or there is any other that these activities are not new. They have always happened in CBSE. CBSE has always allowed this, and earlier only the retotaling or if there was a answer that was left unchecked, that was that was looked at. But since the past few years, 8-9 years, the policy of re-evaluation also came in. That is, if the child is not satisfied, then the complete paper will be evaluated not by one evaluator but by two evaluators. And whenever the corrections are done, there are marking schemes that are made, and these marking schemes are made over complete 4-5 days, where every question is discussed at the expert level, and these experts are the teachers.
No, the revaluation process itself is so controversial this time around because the CBSE is talking of, actually refunding, reducing the fees, etc. So the entire process from the examination to the kind of results that have been given to the reevaluation, at every stage the process appears to have been initiated. So it's not just the stress of giving an exam, but the stress of figuring things out that is making things very difficult for all of these students.
I do agree that it is very stressful for the students to go through this time, and there have been controversies in that. But what I want to say is that the process is very, very transparent. All the papers are with CBSE. They have not gone anywhere. Wherever the child feels that there are discrepancies, these children can apply, and they've always been applying.
But that's not resolving the problem. What needs to be done, Tanvi, to resolve the problem? Let's work on solutions now. We know what the problem is.
One issue which has come up is compensation. Now tell me, what kind of compensation can be given to students who are having mental trauma? Those students who have undergone such kind of agony, pain, and they see that, their lives have been destroyed. So what kind of compensation can you think of? I can only think of that you must scrap, right? You must cancel this exam once for all, and then have your exam later on whenever you feel like that you are
the entire board exam. You're saying entire board exam has to be scrapped.
You see, because the point is that what would be the
won't they lose an entire academic year if they do that?
Yeah, of course. See, the point is that the government must understand. We have had in the university 0 year because you are not taking it seriously. Education has never been on political agenda.
Entire exam must be scrapped. Dr. Ranathan, your response.
What compensation?
Let him respond. You made a point. Let him respond.
Let's stick to rationality. The exam is scrapped when the paper is leaked or there is some malafide. Out here, as ma'am just said, all the answer sheets are with the CBSE. All one needs to do is any student who says that he figures there's a problem with it, those should be manually checked. And I do agree. I do agree that the problem, as I said initially, the problems with this was immense, and R.P. Singh Ji's government has to take stock of the situation. Why was the scanning resolution parameters lowered, and did they result in a discrepancy of this nature? Number one. Number two, when the officials themselves said, let's have a pilot project to begin with, where was the need to actually have it a test thing for 1.3 crore students?
Exactly.
And the final point, when you talk of compensation, let's not be silly and irrational. The point I'm trying to make is the first step of any mala fide that the government does against the citizens, it is constitutionally mandated for the government to compensate them.
Yeah.
Now the compensation is on physical trauma and mental trauma.
Okay.
When you have a rail accident, aren't the victims compensated? For you to say, well, what's the point of compensating them?
Let me bring in
It's
fact
reality.
BJP on this. R.P. Singh, I want you to answer the question. A question was asked to a CBSE regional head, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Gupta, about what has happened in OSM, and his answer is what? His answer is there is no question of the website being hacked. The point is even someone like a regional director of CBSE does not know what is happening. He's talking about websites being hacked when the problem is the technological solution which is being implemented.
Well, Madhav, it depends on what question was asked to him. Probably he would have answered to the question which would have been asked to him, that has the website been hacked? I mean, so that's why he would answer that. But fact is that the complete system, as the ma'am has also said, that complete system is transparent. And if there is, I mean, I seriously doubt there is a blur copy, because it's not. Give me a second.
Let him speak. Let him make his point.
Give me a second. Give me a second. Allow me to complete.
Yeah.
No blood copy was checked.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Rejected.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, if there is a blur copy, obviously, how can you evaluate that? No teacher can evaluate a blur copy. So, and if there is it will be redone. I mean, that's what re-evaluation is all about. So there is still a scope for a child for getting, because he has submitted his answer sheet. The answer sheet is still there with the in the custody of the CBSE.
Yeah.
So it can be re-evaluated. There is still a chance for a student to have it re-evaluated.
But what about the lost time, Mr. R.P. So much time is
sir,
being lost.
Used to happen.
There are entrance examinations happening.
Madhav, it used to happen earlier also. That re-evaluation used to happen.
Of course,
and also the time will be lost in that. Obviously,
but not on this scale. Was it on this scale?
No. Please go through it.
Yes, I just come in here because I would know the facts. First of all, there was not even a single blurred copy that was checked. All the blurred copies were rejected. That is why 13,000 copies have been manually corrected. So I want to place that on record.
No,
because
but that is the CBSE's own statement on OSM, when they first talked about 90,000 copies, all which were found, and then from that 13,000 were there.
So there is no...
Which itself, of course, raises questions. Why did they have to be manually checked? And if some are getting manual checking...
These were the blurred copies.
Just listen to my question. If some are getting the manual checking, then isn't that a disadvantage for the others who's being automatically checked by the software?
Because the marking scheme is being followed.
One by one.
Because the marking scheme is being followed, marking scheme is the same for everybody. Whether you manually check or whether you check it on the screen, let me tell you, the computers were... There were, but they were rejected.
And what happened?
No, they were manually checked.
Were the students marked?
No.
Huh.
They were checked manually. Of course, the students
They put out a statement where they said around 90,000 odd copies were blurred, and they still changed them.
Yes.
Yet there were 13,000 copies which they later found. My simple point is, and I want you to come in on this, Chirag, if there are 13,000 copies that are being manually checked, that means that the digital system is not foolproof. If you still require manual checking.
See, this digital system is being tried for the third time.
Yes.
That they had to make sure that we have tested the system. It was only tested in 5 schools, first of all. Okay. Next, when you ask question, the entire BJP lobby started attacking that student Vedant, and what name calling was done, leave that. Now, even when the mark sheets were tested, there were, on a multiple choice question, there was half mark given. When the manual says 0 and 1, there was half mark given. Our suggestion is, let's do the entire evaluation of all the answer sheets. If you have made a mistake, please accept that we have made the mistakes. We will reevaluate all the mark sheets. Maybe we have done this wrong.
Should all the answer sheets be reevaluated? Answer him.
Out of 1 crore 30 lakhs.
One by one. Let her answer.
Children are satisfied with the results also. All the children who are not satisfied, they should apply for the reevaluation. And now, of course, the date is over. But they should approach their schools, and even if they want to approach the CBSE once again, because the website was not working, a chance should be given to every child who wants to get the papers re-evaluated.
Okay.
Should I study for the NEET exam? Should I go to my school? Should I fill up the form? Should I get my CBSE done? And Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan will be busy in Punjab election now.
That is the crux of the problem, RP Singh.
No, his concern is Punjab election because they are. His concern is Punjab.
My concern is any election.
Let's not do. I think
give me a second, Madhav. No, this is not fair. You allow him to pause on.
Make your point, but I'm saying why are we making it political?
Because he said Punjab election. He mentioned. I never mentioned Punjab election. He mentioned Punjab election. There are 30% principals not available in schools. 30% schools don't have the principal in the Punjab. What are they talking about Punjab election? What Punjab governance they are talking about?
Okay, let's keep the elections behind. Okay, one by one, please, one by one.
Responsible, man. Dharmendra Pradhan Ji should resign. He should take that moral responsibility, and RP Singh Ji should come and say that he should resign. 90 paper leaks, 90 paper leaks, even SSC GD, anything that happens
This is what I feared would happen as far as this debate is concerned, which is why I started off saying let's keep now, and this is something that many of our panelists wanted to talk about. Let's just listen to what Supreme Court has today said. Why are the court asking the government? Recommendations appear to have failed, and he's talking about the Radhakrishnan Committee recommendations. Which individual is responsible? Very important. Supreme Court wanting to fix accountability, saying accountability has to be fixed. Wrap number 6, name the person responsible. Very strong words being used over here by Supreme Court, not normally seen. And what really is the status as far as the probe is concerned? Total of 13 persons have been arrested so far. This is of course as far as the arrests that have been made in Delhi, Jaipur, Gurugram, Nasik, Pune, Latur and Ahilyanagar. There's also of course searches conducted across 49 other locations which have happened. Several incriminating documents have been seized as well. Laptops, mobile phones also under the scanner over here. Detailed analysis of the seized items is currently underway and several suspects were detained for interrogation as well. Now this is of course as far as that particular probe is concerned. What is the modus operandi? Let's quickly take a look at this. Racket which ran in a systematic and professional manner is what we are told. There were deals that were reportedly done and ranged from 5 lakhs to 30 lakhs and beyond is what sources have indicated as far as the investigation is concerned. Students were shortlisted after evaluating financial capacity is also what we are told, and professors and other senior individuals were also involved in it. The operation followed a selection first payment later model is also what investigators are now telling us. Parents allegedly even offered blank checks just to get that particular question paper is what we are told. Now this is of course as far as the solutions. What happened to the Radhakrishnan Committee report of October 2024? The government says this has by and large been implemented. Supreme Court today has come out and said no, that's not pretty much the case. Why has not actually happened on ground is a question coming in from the Supreme Court. They've also said that they should minimize outsourcing of exam staff and centers. They should have their own staff, conduct more entrance exams online. Some of the concrete recommendations coming in to introduce hybrid exam models where the question paper is sent by email and then printed out at the center, because it's in transit very often, which is why you have the Air Force today that is allegedly being brought in to actually send these question papers. Implement biometric and AI authentication is also what Radhakrishnan Committee had suggested. Deliver encrypted question papers is yet another suggestion that has come in as well. They've also, of course, gone on to make several other suggestions. Let's quickly bring that up. Setting up standardized test centers is another aspect that they're talking about, and also strengthening surveillance and monitoring as far as these exams are concerned. Creating oversight for coaching institutes also becomes a very important factor. Consider the cap on NEET attempts is yet another question. RP Singh, coming right back to you. Supreme Court not sparing the government, saying there is a need to fix accountability. Why have these recommendations of Radhakrishnan Committee not been implemented?
Well, yes, accountability has to be fixed, and accountability will be fixed. No one will be let off on this subject, because this is a matter of the students of the country, the youth of the country, the future of the country. But coming to the issue, I mean, Madhav, was the paper leaked by the in the system, or was it the questions were people who had set up the question paper, they took out some questions and they passed on certain questions?
NTA officials were in on it. That's what CBI has said in its remand papers. I'm sure you've seen that, and it has happened in the last, I think, last 3 years for the second time.
So we need to go ahead on this, and then that is the computer-based testing system. That's the only option which is there, because that will be a foolproof thing which will happen. And hard options, but that's the option, because 22 lakh students getting them on board to get this going. and almost 5,432 centers.
So there's also a hybrid model, for instance, and let me bring in others on this. I know some of these aspects, Dr. Ranganathan, and of course you can comment from the opposition side as well. Some of these aspects are the hybrid model, where they say they will email the question paper, and at the exam center they will be printed out and given. Now that cuts out this transit leakage at least. At least if we can plug it at that level, perhaps we won't have these kind of blatant leaks happening.
Thank you for saying that, Madhav, but just 10 seconds, as those of us who are educationists among us, we owe it to the students to be objective about it. Now, here is proof that the blurred answer sheets were also checked, if the camera can zoom in. So it's not that 13,000 were not checked. Here is proof that teachers, evaluators checked even the blurred things, and that is a disaster for the students. Hence, this is wrong. Now let me come to the NEET. This is a calamity that has happened, and again I stress, till the time the people who keep on perpetrating this do not pay either with their heads or with anything else, with punishment, this will keep on happening. So the step number one is to compensate to all 24 lakh students, at least 2,000, 3,000 that will cost the exchequer, which is the government. Take it from the education ministry kitty, I don't care, 500 crores. Number two, when you can hold a similar exam of a similar scale, which was JEE, where 16 lakh students appear without a glitch, same NTA, what is the point of saying next year we will hold it like that? That is absolutely shameful. You have the evidence here. In the case of CBSE, you didn't have the evidence of that scale. Still you went ahead, rejected the pilot thing. Here you have the evidence year after year. So the idea is to cut out the middleman, to cut out the probability of somebody cheating. Obviously, when you have 24 lakh question sheets being printed physically, you are going to have middlemen who are going to do hanky-panky. In this case, is there a mala fide ever seen in JEE? No, there isn't of this scale. It is criminal to hold an exam of the same thing where computerization is not allowed. So the government heads have to roll.
Government heads have to roll. Vivek, tell us.
I think it's a, corruption nexus that is going on in the country. That is for sure. Nothing, What Mr. R.P. Singh right now said, that no one will be scared, will take action, this 11 people have been arrested and so on, It was the same thing in 2024 when the NEET exam was leaked. The question paper was leaked. And the same thing, it was the same thing, exactly the duplicate thing that the Bharatiya Janata Party was saying. You know what happened? It took the CBI 90 days to file a charge sheet. And the director or the chairman of the NTA was promoted. He was made the principal secretary of the Chhattisgarh chief minister. That is the height of corruption, that the Bharatiya Janata Party has been doing. I think the government and all of us, as citizens of India, responsible people, we should, think about the anxiety, the pressure and the mental trauma of the parents as well as the students. This thing, it cannot be taken lightly, because it is the students, the young people are the future of a country. What we had to achieve, we have achieved, but they are the people who have to go ahead and serve the country. So making such lame excuses will not work,
Okay. R.P. Singh, that question I think you have to answer again, because
do we go back to the caption fee system then you're suggesting?
No.
Do you suggest that?
I just need a blueprint, what the government is going to do in future.
I think the specific
we
question
need a
that he has
blueprint.
asked,
Please tell me.
Once again, when he's talking about fixing accountability, why is it that the 2024 leak case, who was punished? We don't know yet. The CBI took up the entire case. Once again, because an example has to be set. Right now also you're saying heads will roll. But the point that they are making is also valid, that nothing really happened in 2024. There is no fear of the law.
Well, Madhav, cases...
Let him answer, please. Allow him to answer.
Madhav, case is still on. Cases have not been closed. Only thing is they've got bail, nothing more than that. And obviously, they will, and as a final thing, they will get the punishment also.
Who has from the government has resigned? Who has resigned from the government?
No. See, for everything, you can blame a minister or for their gut. It's the people...
Please tell me.
Give me
some... Rajnath Singh ji says, that is what he said. No matter what.
RP, coming to each of you, one by one. RP Singh.
Salah, I am not in habit of intervening. Otherwise, मेरे को ऊंचा बोलना बहुत अच्छा आता है. So issue is, Madhav, obviously the people have been caught who has done the who has done the dirty job. They have been picked up. They have been booked, and obviously they will get the punishment also. The heads the NTA chief was shifted. Obviously, he's a bureaucrat. He can be chucked out of the job, but he was shifted off the job. And otherwise, also, understand the volume of the thing. And then again,
Okay, no,
the way ahead is...
volume apart.
10 seconds. The same BJP, when in non-BJP ruled state, there are a slew of murders that happen, crime rate increases.
No, even
paper leakage also. Paper leakage happened. What does the BJP says? We're not satisfied by you catching the criminals. You allowed it to happen, so the Home Minister must resign, Chief Minister. तो अभी आप कह रहे हैं जिन्होंने क्राइम किया वो पकड़े जाएंगे, वो तो पकड़े जाने चाहिए. But the point is, government ने अलाउ किया लैक्सिटी में, उसमें कौन रिजाइन किया आरपीसी? नहीं, वो कौन रिजाइन? रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कौन ले रहा है? क्रिमिनल्स को पकड़ने की आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी तो है ही है. मैं कह रहा हूँ वो अलाउ किया आपने क्राइम.
I think that's a fair point. Why should a Sarkari Babu, who is responsible for it, why should they not be held accountable? Why should they not be sacked, for instance?
Well, if he is involved, he will be held. I mean, how can we hold a person without the investigation? If investigation lead to him,
that is the point. Where is that? That's the whole point of responsibility. All right. You want to come in on this, Tamil?
Yes, I want to say that, look, who decides about... Yeah, partly and partly not. Yes, of course. Let me.
He's saying heads must roll. Surely you agree with that.
Sorry?
He's saying heads must roll. Surely you agree with that.
Yes, on that I'm agreeing, but there are a lot of things I'm not agreeing.
Conditional agreement, conditional support.
Yeah. The kind of support that is giving to digital support. So the point is, look, in a parliamentary democracy, this whole education is run by a ministry. Who has taken the final decision? That is the question. Giving this contract, I'll come back to this contract. Giving this contract, who was responsible? Despite knowing the fact that this company has a murky past and has done a lot of wrong deeds, there was an FIR, still you have given to this company, right? See, let me complete. Then you tell me that the ministry doesn't know who is the minister. So somewhere in a parliamentary democracy, the accountability gets fixed to the minister, and the head of the minister is the prime minister. So it's a collective decision, right? It's a collective, and prime minister is not addressed to the student. Now he's not addressed to the student.
I must bring,
5 seconds. Here is where the gentleman might disagree with me. When you talk of the Telangana case, I just want to ask him yes or no. Did the Supreme Court look into it? What was the Supreme Court said?
The Supreme Court
See,
what did it say?
No, the Supreme Court in the Telangana case, the case was going on, the court case was going on
Supreme
about...
Court delivered a verdict. What was it?
About which one? Which one?
The same company that has been used by CBSE.
Which company are you talking about? Which company?
The company that changed its name.
No, it's not Coem. Coem's earlier name was...
It's the same company.
And are you talking about the consortium? No,
Globarina.
Answer the question.
See, the global name or whatever got into a consortium. So this is where I want to address that the public-private partnership leads to this kind of corruption. It went into a consortium, and there were a couple of...
Whoever it is, they must be punished. That's the principle.
So therefore, all the companies... What does it matter which company?
What the company is called Coem to Globarina, how does it matter? We are on the principle that whoever...
Keep on shifting the companies. They build a consortium, they start shifting the buck to different companies.
So it's for the authorities to calculate or not. The students of India couldn't care less. By the court or not. Let me bring in Vinesh on this. Vinesh, this is a larger question. He is questioning public-private partnership model itself. And the point is, here is a company. They are busy saying, they are saying that we are not responsible for the tech failure, but they are quickly changing the name. And from Telangana to the center, ultimately what has happened? The students are the ones who've been shortchanged.
No, I mean, obviously the students have to be at the center, and what has gone wrong with the students is unforgivable. Now, again, I repeat, why this company was initially, caught, went through its court proceedings, came out, changed its names. These are all for the investigation authorities to get into and to find out. The fact of the matter is that in a country like ours, when there is so much of volumes and scale coming in, and when there is a principle of attempting to get into standardization and quality at the same time, standardization, scale and quality, if these have to coexist, I think it's pretty much important to start depending on private professional enterprises to start doing this work for them. Now, to get the private enterprise to get into the government and get the process going is a complete structure that the government should ideally do it in the right way. And what is also slightly ironic, So
what is the wrong thing that happened? What's the learning from this?
From which one? From this particular company that is...
So we are talking about CBSE now. The way, they have said that only 5 schools it was tested in. The scale was not implemented. They should have scaled up. They should have tested it properly and then gone ahead with 100%. It. That's the point that is made by...
every single panelist has clearly mentioned a few steps that should have been done in order to not let this have happened. I agree. This is one sector where prevention is better than cure. you cannot get to a cure stage. You have to get into a prevention stage. And for that, a lot of series of back testing has to be done before it comes out. I mean, it's an analogy, you know, if there are terrorists who have taken hostage about 10 civilians, and the defense forces decide to save the civilians, in the process 2 civilians are killed, overall the country is happy.
But we are completely missing accountability. The point is prevention is all very great, but those who don't take adequate care, what is the instruction for them? What is the punishment for them? Because in 3 years, if it happens twice, what are we talking about the seriousness with which we're taking these issues?
No doubt, like in any other corporate, if there is a serious flaw in the system, the heads at the top have to roll, no doubt about it. And in fact, it is ironic that the current CEO of NTA, the chief of NTA, used to be earlier the CEO of the India AI mission. So he was actually part of the entire AI transformation in the government. He was part of the whole process where cybersecurity was to be strengthened. So it is a little ironic that somebody who's been in that space has not been able to pull off a digitally connected system so there is something that needs to be investigated in that point. So no doubt there has to be a certain accountability that goes beyond the practitioner who's done it, and with every passing year you just have to bring down the error rate.
How do we fix the accountability, Chirag?
See, first of all, एक मूवी आई थी No One Killed Jessica. अब एक 2024 के बच्चे पूछ रहे हैं who destroyed our kids' futures? किसने ऐसा किया कि हमारे बच्चों का फ्यूचर डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया? Because nobody is caught. And CBI is only used on the opposition. All the opposition leaders will be arrested, but the main culprits will never be arrested because they are a part of the BJP. And even when the people who are arrested now, 5 of their relatives have cleared the NEET exam last year. Now, how they have done it, maybe the paper was leaked last year also, but that was not caught, whatever the issue is. But still we
don't know that for sure. We don't know that for sure.
But who is responsible for 2024? I'm not asking about 2026. I'm asking about 2024 NEET exam leak. Which minister, which bureaucrat, who are the people who are responsible and what punishment? It's been 2 years now, 3 years now.
Even Vinesh is of the view that the heads of, like in any corporate, the CEO must take responsibility. There should be a head of the bodies, including NTA, who should take responsibility.
Obviously, the man was shifted out. I mean, but people who were culprit are
Is that enough?
Give me a second, sir, Madhav, please. They are already under investigation. People have been held responsible and the cases are on them. But again, do you want students to come on street and say, okay, this is a chance for us, we couldn't make up, so you come for us? Arvind Kejriwal said, come on street. Rahul Gandhi says, come on streets. Gen Z should come on streets. I mean, they are trying to spread the situation to create unrest in the country.
No, but they have the right to protest. All right, but
आप दूसरे के कंधे पर बंदूक रखा चलेंगे, आप फेल हो गए.
Okay. अभी SSC GD exam में जो हुआ.
Yeah.
We already had ma'am who's a teacher out here, so respects to her. Let's not make it political. If the students feel they've been hard done by, and why wouldn't they? I repeat again, the onus of the government is not just to catch the criminals who've done this, but also to compensate to such an extent that the ministry or the minister feel, oh my God, that's 10% of our budget gone. Can we please make sure for the next 10 years such a catastrophe doesn't happen again?
I have to wrap now, but I want to end this with Ishant. Ishant, आपने सारी debate सुन ली. What would you like to tell the government? आप क्या चाहेंगे? 3 चीजें जो आप इस सरकार से चाहते हैं.
सर, पहली चीज़ तो ट्रांसपेरेंसी होनी चाहिए. दूसरी चीज़, अभी जैसे सर ने कहा था कि एग्ज़ाम कैंसिल कर दो. अब यहाँ हम इस चीज़ के लिए तो बैठे नहीं कि एग्जाम खेलते रहें कि CBSE का कैंसिल हो जाए, फिर नीट का कैंसिल हो जाए, वो भी दे दे, फिर CUET कैंसिल, फिर तो कुछ रह ही नहीं जाएगा. यही एग्जाम ही खेलते रहें. तीसरी चीज़, जो भी ये एग्जाम लीक करते हैं उनको या तो कोर्ट सजा दे दे या तो हमारे हवाले कर दे. हम उनका
आपके हवाले तो नहीं हो पाएंगे, but that just shows the anger. No, I can understand your anger where you're coming from. आपके हवाले तो नहीं होगा, but of course that's really the pain, because it's not just the student who gives the exam. It is the parents, the teachers, everybody responsible who's part of that entire exam process, particularly when it comes to the board exams, which are so important, so pivotal in determining their careers and the future. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us: RP Singh, Dr. Anandranathan, Vinesh Menon, Dr. Jyoti Gupta, Chirag Sethi, Professor Tanveer Ejaz, Vivek Sailas, and Ishant Kanoja. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of the National Debate.